Hey everybody, we're back. Last Thursday we attended a land and planning meeting where they were discussing some zoning stuff and the way whether you can have a tiny house or what the regulation is. But a couple things I wanted to point out real quick. First of all, this meeting was a pleasant surprise to me. We're quick to jump on the county officials, for not doing the right thing or whatever it is. But there's times where they absolutely do the right thing. And this was the most engaging meeting that I have been at yet in reference to the county. This board, who's appointed by the commissioners, was open, and they were open to have conversation. Now, I'll tell you, I didn't agree with everything, but that's okay because healthy discourse is exactly that. It's healthy. Kate was professional, the board was professional, lots of good interaction. But at about the hour and 18-minute mark, there was a big surprise that came, and they began to talk about solar and about the solar, wind farm that is proposed to come into Jackson County. That, at least in the circles that I run in, isn't all that popular. And so it was neat to watch them go through that process and to listen to the people. So you can fast forward to the hour and 18-minute mark if you want, if that's the only part that is important to you. As I always tell you guys, this video is 100% unedited. I didn't cut anything out of it. This is exactly the meeting as the meeting went on. And so you can make up your own mind, you can make your own decision, but this is transparency, and it's a wonderful thing.
Everyone would state their name for the record for roll call.
Steve Wood.
Weimer.
Ben Pruitt.
Chris Adams. First on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Will we give a moment to finish reading them, or someone ready to motion to approve this? All in favor? Aye. Yeses. Next item, commissions. Sorry. New business, we have Evans, talk about your project. Jeff Lee's event. Our intention is we're trying to buy the 33 acres there across from the fairgrounds off I-75. It's approximately 33 acres in the northeast quarter to say. We'd like to have these zoned to commercial. Our thoughts are to put a veterinary clinic there in the future. Leave the rest of it as agriculture between down the middle of that and the south. So our intention would be to put up there kind of where that number 2 is up on the screen there in that corner. So it's visible both from 214 and 75 Highway north and south. That's where entrance at some time, kind of where the Kingdom Hall entrance is coming to the south. Give a sketch there, you kind of circle drive from large animal, from the large animal loadout and loading, and I think it's about 143 by 60 building, and then on that drawing, there's a site plan that shows the setbacks that you have for reed grass, parking, and those setbacks on that site plan. And so that, I think it's like 405 feet by 100 feet is the site plan there. So the building would fit within that site plan, and then the entrance road and the access roads around it. So our intention is we can sell those 10 acres to a corporation that we own to build something. So we as people are buying it, and then we're selling it to a corporation. 10 of the 30. There's two, myself, my wife, my daughter, my son-in-law, and my partner and his wife. And we'd be the six principal owners of the veterinary clinic and those 10 acres. And my wife and I will control the other 23 acres and remain agriculture as we have right now.
That was a good question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That would be my assumption.
Right, we're going to retain the other 23. Yeah. And so pending the sale contract, there's supposed to be a fence put up, approximately that yellow lettering is, I can't read what it is, they're below those water pooling things. There'll be a fence across there to demarcate the line of ownership there, and up to the red there where the housing unit is. 10 acres comes up halfway down on the east side there, on your drawing. Yep.
It's the yellow one that's there.
Yellow is the 10, is what's been surveyed by Tankings as 10 acres, and that's what we can sell to the real estate LLC, my daughter, son-in-law, myself, my wife, and the debt advisors. And then we would build, that corporation's building that. My wife and my partners, we own 3 clinics in Piedmont County and Brown County. We built 2 in the last 6 years. One's been there since 1972. And it would be very similar to the 2 we built in the last 6 years. It'd be a little bit bigger, floor space, but it'd be basically the same type of building.
Will the shed on the east side be removed?
No, it would not be removed. It's right now it has antiques and collectibles in it. It's supposed to be all that's supposed to be cleaned out and removed out by the ownership now before November 1. And so that will be cleaned out. So we will set in front or north and to the west of that shed. Kind of at the angle that corner is there. And it's parallel to that, where face of our building is the plan. Right now, there's no plan to take that building down, we're just going to get it out.
Questions as we do the board. This? Yeah. This is a fairgrounds. Here's your water tower. This is open up here. This is 214. Big one is the other one. Look at our old business church right there. That's the other business.
When would be your timeline to start building? We could potentially start the day after we get approval and we get it closed. Our real estate agent said we could close early as in the next week for the approval and go. We've been working on this already for 6 months. And so it's been a long time, it seems like that. We could potentially go out and stake it the next weekend and have somebody come in and start the approval. It's probably like have a year from now. We're not going to have it in a year from now.
So it's just for small animals?
No, it'd be large and small.
Livestock.
So if you're the site, there's a drawing in there, there's a circle drive there, that circle drive would be trailer. You come in from 214 Road, you come up the west side, circle, have a drive-through, maybe pointing south with the trailer truck, unload work, and then circle right back out to 214th Street. And there'd be parking on the north side of the building, facing kind of to the northeast. We have, like I said, parallel kind of to that corner there, it's not right angle. Kind of, in order to keep the setback to 25 feet plus the parking lot and parking, it just makes sense to stay parallel to that line. There's a little bit of up slope there, so we might put a retaining wall or something in there to keep that berm there, but it's fairly flat. There's only about a 3-foot drop across that siding. At that 410 feet siding, there's only about a 3 to 4. This with a naked eye. We have patio bay or survey. It's fairly flat. South, and there's pretty much when you get to the west and north. Where it's kind of colored in there a little bit darker green from the north, that line of that building is to Matt's house. That up there is not too bad. And so we really can't come south and put in a road in these minutes. So we're going to try to stay, that's a good paved road. Another thing we like about it is it has turning access from all directions for trailers. So when you're coming from the north, there's a good right-hand turn lane. You get over, slow down toward the trailer. When you're coming from the north, we got a long divided highway that you pull a truck and trailer to that and stop, and you're not stopping traffic. And so it's safe for the person driving and the people following. And then you'll have time to get across the intersection and you'll have 10 to a mile before you turn into the driveway. And so it's not, should be any traffic there because there's turn lanes everywhere. And trailers that can get in between that divided highway there. It's not just a narrow 8-foot gap, it's a big distance there.
How do you ride the city constructed by that? No, we're looking at people that are in the area.
Our daughter owns Banner Creek now, so it's moving where the existing Banner Creek location is to that new location, building a new building. So it's not a third building, it's just the moving of the second one.
I'm trying to compare your hand sketch with the tank and survey. You talked about Circle Drive, and that's gonna require 2 entrances,
No, just one.
sketch.
Yeah, it's just one, they'll come in and out the same one. I mean, there'll be an access road, I mean, one
So it
road off
cuts into the
214
north and then makes a loop.
that makes a loop
Okay.
on that site plan.
All right.
It's all contained within that. And so there'll be a circle there to the building and then back out. So all the large animal facility will be to the west. So it'll be kind of pointing towards the fairground, the large animal portion. So if the building is setting like this, the large animal will be on this end, there'll be a circle drive here on the west end. So that's what we have in Sabetha right now, except for the reverse of that. We come in on the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side. So it'll be our Sabetha facility just flip-flopped. We currently have one drive for large animal, goes around the circle, so we know how much room it takes to get a trailer truck in there and turn. So that's where that hand drawing is. I'm not an architect. We went out and measured it, and that's the turning radius we need.
How large is the pens going to be? I mean, how many animals can you contain at one time?
If they're exactly, which is what we have bid right now, if they're exactly what we have in Samantha, we keep 70 cows, 70. In Burkham, 7. And so we can,
But nothing will stay overnight, it's all gonna be just work during the day.
we're taking
In
that
and
out.
Yeah.
We are not going to be set up for overnight housing of large animals, and unless like a calf, it'll be contained inside.
And I'm just concerned about getting take care of the runoff waste.
Yeah, so the waste will be hauled off. Right now, we have a settling pit scooped up and hauled off. And I will say that we can't find a fly in that place. More inside than we can outside. So, I mean, we've, like I said, we've done it twice, and the cities of both Seneca and Seneca signed off. And we have our other facility in Seneca on Highway 36, and we've had no complaints. And we're basically between Highway 75 and Old 75. No complaints.
City limits.
Both
Yeah,
places.
setting up, but
We're right next to Sonic. We're between Sonic and Casey's.
Yeah.
And Casey's had a concern about mice and flies. And if you talk to them now, they got more flies and mice than we do. We don't have a problem. But yeah, no animals stay outside overnight unless it's a very bad deal. Then they're not there for housing, growing, or feeding. They're there because they can't get up and leave. We do not want them to stay unless they have to. They're better off.
I mean, I'm not a livestock guy, so they're bringing them in for shots or.
Yep, shot,
Treatment.
treatment, treatment, yep.
Yeah.
And then they load them back up, and then they go, back out to where they're being housed at. So if they buy them something on Tuesdays, they bring them in, we work them, and if they sell more, they take them to their house.
So they're in and out the same day unless they're like storm on there or something. They got dropped off.
In Sabetha, we've been there 6 years, and we've only had 2 animals spend the night outside. So the one thing that stay inside is we have a week-old calf, 75 to 100 pounds, and has diarrhea and down fluids, and it's basically treated like a dog. It's in a run inside, it's got heat and lights, it's inside. And so nobody outside would notice there.
I guess, one of the issues we faced in the last year or two was kennels, dog kennels, and pet kennels. We don't have any capability with that.
We will have kennels, there will not be outside kennels, all the dogs will be in, and kennels inside.
just the way it's set up now, and for
Yeah.
inside.
It'll be, my daughter owns all that indoor stuff there, and so they'll take what we can use and use it again. She does not own the building, and so, we have a little over a year lease left. We have to have a new place.
Now, are you a vet too?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So I have a partner who's a K-State grad, 10 years younger than me, myself, we have 2 associates, and then my daughter, Dr. Kennedy, that owns Bear Creek. There's 5 vets, we have one hired, another one to join us in June. So just to let you know, if you're concerned about outside dogs, when we kill dogs, just like Bear Creek does, there's a vinyl fence, 6-foot fence, astroturf outside, concrete. The dogs are outside, they do their business, it's cleaned up, they go back inside. You don't know there's a dog outside. There's a privacy vinyl fence between you. Yes, if you walk up to the fence, you can look in and hear and see a dog. But from the road, you don't know there's a dog there. And they go in they're outside for 15 to 30 minutes, 3 times a day. And they go back inside. And then that is, all that stuff is picked up or it filters through the astroturf into a biodegradable substrate underneath the football field. The buildings are aluminum building with a rock wainscot around the front. It's all enclosed.
pull the 24-foot stock trailer out, and try to go north from the vet clinic where it sits right now. It's a open prayer, and you're going uphill, so it's a wonder there hadn't been an accident there before, so
Just as an employee, there are mornings when you go to pull up and turn in and you're watching the rearview mirror going, oh. So, yeah, getting up and away and at an intersection that makes it much more feasible for trailers and just even vehicles to be more comfortable.
But I think it'll be an asset that we do something, probably look at the grass.
Any other questions at this moment? There might be some member of the public here that has a question about this particular project on our agenda tonight. Does anyone want to speak on this topic?
I'm a little confused. I'm a little confused in regard to the location, but I do have a question in regard to any of the runoff. Do we have a concern with it going into Banner?
Could you give your name, please, for the
Yeah, it's Mary Nelson.
So the clinic would be about where the number 2 is in the northeast.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Okay, yeah. If there's a black number 2 up there, yeah, right there.
Okay,
And so it faces to the northeast. We're right now, we're in the city limits of 2 cities, and they've signed off on our waste water runoff. We're in the city, and they've signed off on it. We'll have we've had an engineer propose having a dual type system. The runoff will go into a lagoon, and the human organic waste would go into a lateral septic system. I'm not an engineer, but that's the recommendation.
I just know that when Banner was initiated, runoff was a huge concern. We have lots of individuals that live 5 and 6 miles west of town, having to quit their dairy business because of cattle manure. And so that's why I'm just merely asking, is that a concern at all to the reservoir? Because Banner provides water to,
Right.
Lost Hill.
I think Banner is the other direction.
It is.
This is gonna flow to the northwest, and Banner to the southwest. Northwest, and south, and this is gonna flow southeast, or southwest. So we're gonna be below, Banner. And I don't have any idea what the water tables are, but, we'll do whatever the engineers tell us we have to do to, and unlike a dairy, if we work a week, we might have 3 wheelbarrows full of manure. The cattle, they're not there very long. You work 10 head, they're there for 20 minutes. So there's just not that much organic matter to remove. And so all our pens currently are concreted out, and so it doesn't go anywhere. You have gutters, or curbs. It contains it all, and goes into a settling pit, and then it's all removed. So there quote unquote is not any runoff. The stuff that's from the roof and stuff goes to the ditches. The stuff from the cattle pens and that goes into a settling, and then it's moved off. You scrape it with a tractor, scoop it up with a shovel, and it's gone. It's minimal.
Is it just one entrance off of 214th Road?
That's what we've asked in the contract to buy the land, is that's a contingency, we want one entrance.
Off 214th.
Off to, that's the only entrance we want. There's nothing off 75 highway. There'll just be one, we ask the county for one entrance, and that's contingent on the buy of the land. If we can't get that, we don't need the land.
Sorry, Brenda Adkins.
And
We have a third question, Nate, please.
Matt DeVere. I'm I would assume that Northeast Kansas Environmental Services or the Kansas Department of Environment will be doing inspections.
Whatever, we have to do it, yeah.
So, I mean, a government entity is going to,
Whatever they,
That's
if
their
they're
entire
gonna
job.
sound action
Right.
and tell us what we have to do for runoff. Like I said, we worked with the two cities we live in, and they signed off on both the things we have. And that's all we do, we go to them and say, this is what we want to do, do you want to sign off on or not? And then what do you want us to do to make it, sign off? I mean, we're not engineers, we just ask the experts, what do we have to do? But currently, it has been minimal. They just say, you don't have that much organic material.
I'll tell you folks, believe it or not, there's more than 40,000 head of cattle in Jackson County. This is necessary. And I've worked with these folks with one of my animals last year, and you guys, they're top notch, very clean. They're on a really clean facility. They're good at it.
Who is your engineer?
We don't have one, we have an engineer. We have an engineer friend, but I mean, he's not a paper. He's just told us what his thought is. We've asked, what do you think we should do? And now it says, we're gonna go to, we'll go to the engineer and ask him, because we have to get soil compaction, what can you do for the lagoon, what's it gonna cost, how much do you have to put a liner in, what we have to do. And we're not engineers, so we just hire somebody to do that for us. And they come in and tell us what we have to do. And so, they based on how many bedrooms and bathrooms you have for laterals, that's how much space you need. That's why we're asking for 10 acres, because we don't know what they're gonna ask us to do for laterals to clean the wastewater from just like your house, or if they're gonna make us go into the lagoon. We're open to whatever they ask us to do. So that's why we're not just making it 2 acres, because we were told, come here one time, ask for everything you want one time, don't try to piecemeal it. So we're doing 10 acres, because we're told we put everything we need in that space. And so it's more land than we need, but we're told not to come back and ask for more. So that's where we're at.
Usually what it is, it's not.
In our other facilities, we have 2.4 acres and 1.7 acres. We would really like to have only had 1.7 acres. But they told us to come and ask one time and get as much as you possibly could need. And so that's why we extended 10 acres, far enough to get us our entrance, and then 10 acres is squared up. We should have a very plenty of amount of space. And we have no intention of filling it up. It'll just be hay, or we have no intention of putting cattle on, it'll just be hay. The present owners have cattle on now. We have no intention right now of putting cattle out, or horses, or chickens, or nothing outside.
Any other questions from the public?
I think it's a great idea. Honestly, Banner Creek's been great with us, taking in dogs and whatever. Like they're an important asset in the community.
Could you state your name?
Evan Richter.
Any other questions from the public?
I would just make it simple and say, I would like a motion to approve the application filed by the names of parties for zoning change.
Usually to do that, you would need to withdraw your motion. And restate. If you wish to do that, you are free to do that.
Withdraw my original motion to restate. I would like to make a motion to approve the application filed by Susan Gale Dunn Jeff and Lisa met for zoning change from A1 to B3.
What's the pleasure of that? Okay. We move and seconded to approve the application filed by Susan Gale Dunn, John Heller, and Jeff and Lisa DeMint for zoning change from A1 to B3. Any additional discussion?
And you also remember David, his work,
And that should all be, the acreage should all be in the, application. Any questions? Any other questions, discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes, to review. Aye. Motion carries to the
Thank you, good luck.
Good night, thank you.
Welcome to the county.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry for the, 3 week.
We're okay.
That's all right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is, public hearing on amendments to Articles 5, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 19, 15, 16,
1,
pages.
Yes.
Changes.
Yes, which one are you seeing right now?
Uh,
Are you talking about all of them?
Yes.
all of-
Are you
Or are you
talking
just,
about all totals?
or are you just talking about like the first page?
We can't hear you.
yeah.
That's a big problem. We can't hear
That's a big problem.
anything. So we don't know what you're talking about, please.
Thank you. Yes, there's proposed changes to, as I mentioned earlier, several articles. A number of the initial changes are providing and updating definitions to different terms. Quite a few different terms. There are some proposed changes to the A1 General Agricultural District, some to the A2 Commercial Agricultural District. Kate has them here on the screen. Some to G1 Recreation, RC Rural Center, RR Rural Residential, R1 Single Family, B1 Neighborhood, Commercial, R2 to a 3-family, R3 Multiple Family, MP Manufactured Housing Park District, B2 Simple Business, B3 General Business, B4 Highway Service, I2 Heavy Industrial, some regulation, some supplementary district regulations. Are you asking that the changes be read?
No, sir, I was just asking which one you wanted to speak on first.
Okay. That's up to you. You have the floor. If you have a particular question about one of them, you gotta bring it up on the screen so everyone can see it. And I'll try to speak louder.
Thank you. All of you.
Yes, all of you.
Could you explain to them that the yellow highlighter was all in language? And with the blue highlighter was southern.
Okay, would you do that?
This may help.
Yeah, all 6 of us need to speak up for our audience.
Okay, so as far as Article 5, the definitions in Article 5, you will see the highlighted portions. Those are additions. That's to clarify the definitions. You see the strike through in yellow. We're removing that portion. Then you've got the blue. That's in version 3. That was since the work session. That was additional verbiage that just clarifies that definition or a conditional use. Just clarifies conditional use, special use. It's essentially just clarification. This is an entirely new definition because this dwelling accessory is an addition to the regulations. We haven't had accessory dwellings in ADUs.
What's the blue strike through?
Blue strike through is what you guys went through, because we were trying to determine how big these accessory dwelling units are, so you guys decided to go bigger than the 30% of a primary dwelling. So that's why you're going to see that highlight, because I was bringing that to their attention. Do you want to do 30% or do you want to do bigger or what? What do you guys want to do? The strike through was they decided not to use that verbiage and instead changed it to the limited to 800 square feet or 75% of owner-occupied principal dwelling. We did not have definitions in the regulations for conditional use or special use. That has been an issue for years. We're just trying to get the definitions in there now. There again, this blue highlighted area is saying that, just clarifying that conditional uses and special uses are just per that owner that applies for them and they do not transfer to the
structure, so that's to add in verbiage for accessory dwelling units. It's also to clarify what temporary use structures are, because that's been some concern in the past. I'm getting clarification on that. Then we move to Article 7, the A1 General Ag District. So in all of these articles, you're going to see Section 3 use regulations for temporary structures. And each article is going to have a different number in Section 3 for temporary structures. Each one's going to have a different number for the 17, clarifying that the Planning Commission hears special use and not the Board of Zoning Appeals. So that's just changing that verbiage. Also, there again stating that it's non-transferable for a special use. So each of these sections and each of these articles, and you're going to see those repeated. Each article that has anything about Board of Zoning Appeals, hearing special use permits, each one of those articles is going to have that slash through and the new verbiage to include Planning Commission. Okay? So that's why you're going to see a lot of these repeated. There was also on the table the Section 4 intensity of use, that 20 acres to the 3 acres that was recommended at the work session. The Planning Commission had discussed leaving that as it is, which is just the 20 acres. Then Article 8, there again, we're looking at Section 3 with the use regulations, with the Board of Zoning Appeals not hearing special use permits, and that being the Planning Commission hearing them. That jives with the comprehensive plan and duties between boards. Article 11, Section 3, there again, we got another one of those that we had to clean up that language, right? So there it is again. Article 12, Section 3, number 12, temporary structures, because we have to get that temporary structure verbiage in there. 17, same thing with the Appeals Board and the Planning Commission cleanup. Article 13, same thing. The temporary structures and the Planning Commission and Appeals Board duties. Article 14, Section 3, there again, temporary structures. A lot of this is just repeat stuff. 15, the same thing, it's just clean up on the duties between Planning Commission and Appeals. B1, there's another one with Planning Commission and Appeals Board. It just looks a little different, but it's the same verbiage. It's about special use. Yeah, special use permits. There's another one in Article 15, Section 3, 4. Same in the R3. So, sorry, it's redundant, but Section 3, number 9, Manufactured Housing Park District. Section 3, number 14, B2 District. B3 District, Section 3, number 34. B4, Section 3, number 23 is clean up again. I2, there's some more cleanup. And sign regulations. That popped in because we were adding county public right of way. Because it didn't have county in there. So we wanted to clarify county public right of way. And we decided, because that popped up because of the appeals board, they agreed that that is a Board of Zoning Appeals duty on that. All right, then we get into the supplementary district. This is to incorporate the accessory dwelling units and just cleaning up and adding in some stuff, so there was just clarifying, so there was some strikeouts here, gonna take out that verbiage and add something to make it clearer. And then we get into the accessory dwelling units. This is all new. So this was discussed again here in the blue, and they decided to go bigger than that. This,
There's interest, in that whole section, and everything, in the public, in this section where we, which reminds me of which line.
The accessory dwelling unit.
Takes people in the back, see that brand new line, just being in this, when it's under A. So everyone,
accessory dwelling unit, also known as an EDU. The detached accessory dwelling shall not exceed 800 square feet or 75% of the owner-occupied principal dwelling square footage, whichever is less. Number 2 is located on the same lot, rear yard, as the principal dwelling unit, and 3 shall be on a permanent foundation, and 4 shall not be divided off into another new lot of record, and 5, the principal dwelling unit or the accessory dwelling shall be owner occupied, and 6, the accessory dwelling shall meet the district's yard requirements, the setbacks, and 7, the combined square footage of the principal dwelling and all accessory buildings shall not exceed the maximum lot coverage per district. And 8, the accessory dwelling shall not exceed the maximum zoning district height. And 9, separate meters and utilities are prohibited, subject to approval by Northeast Kansas Environmental Services. 10, a building permit is required to convert an existing structure. So if there is an existing structure and you're wanting to put in an accessory dwelling unit in that structure, building permit is required to make sure that you're meeting these standards.
that helps. Are there any other questions on the systems?
I'm Cindy Hoffman, thank you. The paper doesn't have the color, and I think most of us didn't know what was going on, so you clarified it, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's very helpful, very helpful.
So, Evan, sorry.
I'm going to ask you for a name each time.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
So, in this, are you guys still trying to decrease the ag land to 3 acres? Or I thought you said something there about you guys want to go back to the 20 acres? Is this still on track to try to turn ag land to 3 acres?
Thank you for that question, first of all. What the board talked about in the work session, which is not a voting session, was on that exact point, to try to just leave things the way they are right now, and not go with the smaller acreage under those circumstances.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think 3 acres would be way too low. I think if we're gonna lower ag requirements, it should be to help younger people who wanting to be in ag. And in that case, like 10 acres would be more reasonable versus 3 acres. But-
3 feet is not much for a farm. These days.
Well, I know, but
if
if someone trying to get into it wants to buy 10 acres and put a house on it, and you can run a couple cows and keep your foot in the door there, versus where 3 acres is really up. You got,
I know several of 10 acres in Missouri that owned one of the meat large chicken ranchers, and they started on 10 acres.
Yeah, 10 acres is plenty big enough to get a new building at least. But 3 acres, I mean, in ag, that's not ag use anymore, that's suburban. Yeah, that's more of a yard.
Whole suburbs.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Just to clarify, that was a work session, so that's what we talked about. The board will vote tonight, I believe, on leaving, this is the whole or this minus that, in other words, leaving that section up as it is without making any change to that section, so leaving the current rules and rules, that's what they'll vote on here, just a little bit. Okay. Just to clarify that, hopefully we can.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think there was at least one other hand. Hold on just a second. I'm going to go to him just because new speaker first and on that, okay?
My name is Mike Branson. Would the board be willing to add some clarification to the statement of red stating something to the effect that the planning commission intends to leave the intensity of use regulations in place from the previous revision?
There will be a portion of the motion that should address that. Here a little bit.
Okay, so will we have a chance to speak after that portion?
Not now.
But you guys are going to discuss this after we're done speaking?
Let me go ahead and partly answer your question, and I will not be making the motion. But the motion that I've written out includes a line to hopefully answer your question. To approve except for no change, let's see, yeah. No change, except for no change to section 4, which is right where, intensity of use regulation. Sorry, let me restate that. I got that wrong. No change to Article 7, Section 4, intensity of use regulations. Again, that's part of the motion that I'm going to suggest to someone in case they want to make it.
So your motion would essentially be to leave the intensity of use regulations in place as they currently stand?
Exactly.
And then I would also like to provide some clarification, if I could, about the temporary use structure. Is that what you were going to speak on? Or?
I actually had a question on this.
Real quick, just the temporary use structure. It's, to me, just reading it as a layman, it seems kind of, it makes me feel like if I have a camper on my property, right, that I'm using as a temporary structure in accordance with the new proposed regulations, that at the end of that construction, I have to remove said camper from my property, and I think that there's a very easy way to get rid of that perception. My suggestion would be that a temporary use structure is permitted to be used for 18 months on an improved or unimproved real estate, which is of impermanent nature, incidental to construction work, for no greater than 18 months. And just leave it there. Because you've given that individual that 18 months to do what they need to do with that incidental structure. But then if it's a camper, they don't have to remove it from the property. If it's a shipping container, they don't have to remove it from the property because there's no requirement for that. So I would just set the tone for the 18 months, right? Because at the end of 18 months, I'm not going to remove my camper from my property. That's kind of how we read it. But if you just put in there that, hey, here's the intent, you can use this temporary use structure for the course of construction for the 18 months, and leave it there. And then if you guys need to add some verbiage to say that an extension needs to be granted, they come before the board and request an extension, and just state that it can be used for 18 months, leave all the rest of the verbiage, and remove the part where it says must be removed from property. Because again, I wouldn't want to remove a shipping container, I wouldn't want to remove a recreational vehicle. Somebody could be storing a tiny home, but you've only allowed that tiny home to be a temporary use. You see what I'm saying?
So that's why I added when used as a temporary dwelling.
Okay.
I thought that would clarify it.
I think it does. It says you're living in it on a daily basis.
When these structures are being used as a temporary dwelling.
Okay.
I guess I was kind of confused with that one, so just because of how it ends with must be, that they must be removed after the 18 months. Because, you know, your camper's gonna sit in your driveway most of the time.
And that's understood, right? People own campers and they don't have to remove the campers. It's just that it's discovered that it's being lived in full time. And there's no building permit active.
Because you guys are primarily concerned about a residence going up and people not, and let's say they're pumping sewage into a ditch or something. Like you're trying to keep out of that realm. So I just thought that the wording of having it removed was kind of strong, and I don't know if it's necessary.
There are so many scenarios when it comes to these temporary structures. Some of these temporary structures can be put on permanent foundations and moved to the accessory dwelling unit if it fits certain criteria, right? This is to cover these specifically, and there tends to be more as time goes on, different types of structures that pop up. I think it's just to make sure that the housing units and structures are put on permanent foundations for one, and that sewage is taken care of properly. There are always situations where we can work with somebody if it's gonna stay there, like a tiny home. Somebody brings in a tiny home and actually wants to use. Such structure shall not be used as a permanent dwelling after the end of the permitted period.
Or after.
Ignore the formatting. I don't want to waste 15 minutes of time trying to format it.
What's important to me is the words, not that there's a line in here. Yes, please.
I guess, Jay Sims, my question is, what is the purpose of this paragraph? What is the purpose of section 127? What crime is being committed by not having this in our legal? What are we addressing?
It's a definition, because there is no definition, and I have been asked, well, what is a temporary structure or use? And if there isn't anything in the regulations that I can point to, if that's been a consistent question over the years, that's why we stick a definition in there. That's essentially what this is.
Who's can tell what's temporary for you may be permanent for me, right?
Well, permanent for you, then we would talk about a permanent use for you.
Would it be like to, basically, isn't it to stop like in New Mexico and all, they pull a school bus up there and live in it, build a porch, and you have them sitting everywhere, and it's just a mess. Isn't that basically what it's doing? Sort of monitoring so it doesn't get out of control?
Sure, this is just a definition,
Okay.
just to give some clarification on what a possible temporary use or structure could be,
Okay.
okay?
There's already regulations on temporary structures, I'm guessing on the books. I'm guessing, oh, sorry.
Before you repeat, give your name again.
City Hall, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm gonna give it over.
Sorry.
It just makes it easier to smooth that out for the regular people.
That's very true again. I guess you're saying that there's already regulations on temporary use, you're just defining it.
That's defining, that's, okay, that's. So it's.
There was a question.
Never mind, I was just gonna clarify that. Steve Sheldon.
Yes.
I assume, obviously, you have pages probably of what a permanent structure is, and the rest of the regs. It's pretty clearly defined, so you're just trying to clarify more what a temporary structure is.
Because there was no definition for it.
Okay.
And it's-
Yeah, just by itself, it's
Yeah.
confusing, but I think if we read it in the context of
Yeah.
130 pages.
So, all of those sections that I went through that we were, like section 3, kept saying temporary structure, temporary use. You go to the front, the definitions, and there's no definition. Clean and stop up.
Any other questions on the proposed, changes? Yes, Madam Clerk?
Just need one more comment, just to clarify, we can apply for, like, in the A1 zone, it says it has to be like behind the primary building. We can apply for, a waiver, correct? If it's, yeah, political grants, right? So it's not, if it's not necessarily behind the primary building, we can apply for that variance. Yes.
Yes. That would go to the appeals board
Okay.
on variances.
Jeff Westler. I just have a question. Why is the 20 acres marked out? I thought the 3 acres would be marked out. Maybe I was just curious.
This was the work session verbiage. I noticed the red. That was the work session comment as well.
So it should be line 3 or something. They better go back to the 20 acres.
I just thought 3 acres would have been marked out and 20 acres would have been left.
Oh, that area they got blue was what they were proposing to do,
Oh,
and that red says, we don't think we're gonna do that now.
okay, that's fine. I just, the line kind of threw me off, that's all.
Yes. It's confusing. Yeah, depending on what the board makes the motion. They may decide to just pull that entire section full there. Just pull that out and just leave that section 4 as it is currently, without making any changes. So, make that decision here just a little bit. Thank you for asking. Any other questions on these proposed document, or these proposed changes to this document? Any other questions, discussion on the department before I ask for a motion? Yes, here's what I've written out. So in case anyone wants to make this motion, or if you have a different motion. What I've written out is if someone, I'm not making this motion. I'm just stating a sample motion, just for the record. I'm not making this motion, this is a sample motion to the one who, I'll pass this around so that everyone here can hear it. This is just one thought. Whoever makes the motion, say whatever they want. I just think this way is clearer, clarifies some things. So, someone would move, possibly, to adopt the Article 5. Adopt the recommended amendments to the Jackson County zoning regulations except for no change to section 4. I'm sorry, Article 7, section 4. You can slow down to that, you're almost there, just so we know what you're talking about. Except for that, except for that section 4 that's almost all removed, that has the red line below. We start over that a little bit there. So someone might possibly move to adopt the recommended amendments to the Jackson County zoning regulations except for no change to Article 7. Article 7, right there. Section 4, which is right down below, which is the intensity of use regulations. That's what I think we have to the board to consider a possible motion. They might have some change for that. Yeah, this. The board could do many different things. Steve's way, possible way to incorporate the requested change to number 127 would be just modify this wording to adopt the recommended amendments to the Jackson County zoning regulations, including the change in then go on with, except for no change to Article 7, Section 4, intensity of use.
Definition 127, or section 1, definition 127.
Right. Section. You are correct.
Can I make a suggestion? Can we adopt these one article at a time, Mr. It will take us a lot less time than what we're trying to do here.
I think this will be quicker. including the change in Article 5, Section 1, definition of where Main Street, to incorporate that change. That makes sense?
Online.
Let me rewrite it for that change. Rewrite this out, so it's. Every moment here,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to point out that right now we're only changing 2 articles that are different in this paper. The other 15 can be adopted as presented. I think that we can vote on the 2 article changes that were discussed.
That's a second possibility. This is one possibility. Okay. And the word in loud enough so that everyone can hear.
Okay, I'll make a motion. I move to adopt the recommended amendments to Jackson County zoning regulations, including the changes in Article 5, Section 1, definition 127, and temporary use or structure. Exception, no change to Article 7, Section 4, intensity use regulations.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the recommended amendments to the Jackson County zoning regulations, including the change in Article 5, Section 1, definition 127, temporary use or structure, except for no change to Article 7, Section 4, intensity of use regulations. Is there any additional discussion? On this? Okay, I believe we're ready for a vote. All in favor of the motion as stated? Aye. Could you raise your hand just for clarity? Okay. 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 5 in favor, motion carries. Next topic on the agenda is public hearing. Time is 8:36. Just for official record.
8:46.
Public hearing to consider a temporary amendment to Article 30 of the Jackson County zoning regulations about a 24-month moratorium on commercial wind energy applications and projects.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose, since we're talking about a moratorium, that we also include solar energy along with wind energy. Therefore, on moratorium is titled as a resolution establishing a moratorium on commercial wind. I'd like to go ahead and add and solar energy projects in Jackson County, Kansas. It's also in first paragraph, third sentence, after commercial wind, but and solar electrical generation. And in vote number 1 in the resolution, where it says, in connection with wind, I'd like to add the word and solar energy electrical generating projects. And I'd like to discuss it if the board has any questions. Right up the floor, I'd like to make some comments.
comments, go ahead.
Okay, like everybody else in the county, was kind of taken by surprise in November of '22 when the company named Nextera showed up in the county somewhere, commissioner's meeting, front yard, I don't know. And announced their plan to put a tremendous facility in the southwestern portion of the county. And we as a board establish or recommend the county commissioners regulations that apply not just to a portion of the county, they apply to the entire county. And so I started tracking these newspaper articles in our local Holton Recorder, and I think I really didn't start until April 5th of '23 was the first article I cut out. And the last one I cut out was in April of '24. And in that 12-month period, I've got 23 or 25 articles here. And I try to get a lot of this view. That's over half of the publishings that they put out on a weekly basis, 52 weeks a year. The last one really bothered me because it says here that the county commission still work on solar regulations, and they promised us in an article here last June that they'd have regulations drafted and presented to us by August last year. It never happened. So here it is, July 31st, and I quit cutting them out in April. I mean, just got to be every other, if not every week, there's an article in there or a letter to the editor or something. And it's 95% against solar. And so I started looking into it and doing my research. And it says here the county commission is going to draft regulations and continue to be developed by the Jackson County Commission, and they will be handed over to the members of the Jackson County Planning Commission for revision. It's been reported. And then down a little further, it says when the commissioners originally discussed the process for drafting solar regulations, they decided, and then it says in comment, in communications with the planning commission, which I don't remember any communications, to create the outline for the proposed regulations with Hendricks, since he's already prepared to attend the commission meetings each week. And then there's some other articles that are quotes in the article I don't care to share, but if you want to go to July 31st, you can reread that issue yourself. I don't remember any of the commissioners coming or asking me or telling this board what the process is going to be. And by Kansas statute, they're correct. You do not have to initiate a planning commission, and their process is legal by all concerned. I mean, we still have to be in the process and make recommendations. But what really bothers me about this whole thing is an unreliable, unproven technology that works at best 4 to 6 hours a day. And we're going to put 5,000 to 8,000 acres of panels where they're going to go out and sterilize the ground because they don't want weeds growing up in it. Which is going to increase runoff because all the vegetation is not there to catch it. They're composed of highly toxic and rare earth minerals. If we get a hailstorm or a deluge of rain damage those panels and they get released into the watershed, Jackson County will be polluting potentially Cross Creek Rivershed, which will contaminate the water supply of Rossville, Kansas, which could generate some liability for the county. And I'm not saying the technology can't get any better, but at present, we're considering a moratorium on the wind for reasons, I don't know. I don't know why that's very equal weight on solar, because for the same obvious reasons. And I just think it's wise on our part to recommend that we also include solar with the wind energy. Is an unreliable resource which is not going to give Jackson County any benefit at all other than they're jeopardizing the future of our property. And companies that are gonna be building these things are gonna, during or short after construction, sell that portion to a subsidiary company with those assets. And especially if you're planning on raising your children and grandchildren. Nothing, there's long-term issues that residents really need to start thinking about. They really need to get on their computer and quit watching over it. Yes.
There's
a resolution.
There might be a legal question at the county commission level, so she's explained. Because solar is not part of section 30 of our rules. So that would be handled by people who are not present.
What I want to know is, do we have to have a separate moratorium for solar and a separate one for wind?
No. I think we do.
Awesome. I would try to get them in, those might be separate. For some of the reasons. Yes.
If that's a question of whether or not to make it legal, Chase Sims, can we just, instead of inserting words into that document, can we create a new resolution that gets rid of the wind references and adds solar references? And have two resolutions so they're separate and you won't negate one with the other or throw it out legally if something's wrong with it legally? Just an idea.
That is a possibility. We're not prepared to write that resolution tonight. That is, this would be an official resolution by the county commission. That's which we prepared by the county council, not present.
Right.
Is there another question over here first?
From my understanding, this is basically a vote to show the intent to the commissioners one way or another, and then the commissioners, it's on their shoulders, and their legal counsel to sort it out at the back end. Okay, so basically you guys are just establishing intent at this point.
Got your opinion on this? Got it. Is there another question, Carter? Okay. I first agree to really vote, so, all in favor of, who's not going to do this? So start here at the north end of the table and move south. So, on the motion to state, how do you vote?
In favor of solar and wind and
How do you vote, Delbert?
I want to have a moratorium on wind and solar.
So in favor of the motion?
If that is what I was saying.
If that is the motion, would you second it?
Okay.
I vote no. Yes or no? Okay, 3 yeses, 1 no, motion carries. I will. That concludes our agenda for tonight.
Can I just say thank you guys? And Paige, not the official record, I think this is exciting, there's so much community involved. I really appreciate what everyone's doing here. Right, I think that very healthy interaction with the community. This is great. This is what it should be.
Thank you.
Hey, hold up.
Okay, thank you, everyone.